Hi, my name's Kim. I'm a licensed nationally certified Chinese medical provider and a Taoist practitioner. And I want to talk a little bit more about that app that I've been using to see the quality of food that I'm buying. So I'm not positive how they pronounce it. It's either Yuka or Yuka. And so I want to show you some of the things that I learned using this app. So let's go check out a couple grocery stores and let me show you what it's been showing me. This app rates foods at 0 to 100, with 0 being really bad and 100 being good. I wanted to create a baseline for myself, so I was going to choose a food that I knew was really bad for me, and I chose this. If I drink one of these, they cause so much inflammation in my body. It will take me 2 to 3 days to get that inflammation back out of my body. You know, it's got such a high sugar content that it creates so much acid in my stomach and my intestines. It just tears up my stomach and intestines. And by doing that, it just leaches all this calcium out of your bones. For me, they're super addictive. If I drink one of them, it's going to take me weeks to stop craving another. That's my really bad food. I know it has a really bad impact on me. And I figure if foods rank like this one does, then maybe they have a similar impact on my body. So maybe they're causing as much damage as this one is to my body. If this is something you want to try, pick a food that's bad for you. What if what's bad for you is 39 out of 100? Well, then think about foods that are 39 out of 100 or lower, and that those foods might be causing as much damage in your body. Who knows? It's a thought, it's a start. When we're trying to improve our health, getting around all the marketing hype, sometimes that's really hard. So this is my first pass at, trying to quantify things. I started my journey in a Whole Food store thinking the foods are going to be better here. Since I started out my bad food selection in the drink aisle, I thought, hey, let's go check out their drinks here and let's find a similar bad drink. Not as easy to do in my Whole Food store. This one's good. And if I look at the ingredients on it, I can pronounce all the ingredients and I know what they are. Okay, so I had to look to find one that I thought would be bad. And I finally was able to find one, which is this guy here, which was a cane cola. You can see it ranks pretty similar to what the Coke did. Has 2 hazardous ingredients in it. And so then I thought, well, let's look at these side by side and see what those two, the cane cola and the Coke, let's see what those two look like when we compare the two. They look really similar, except still the Coke has more sugar and has more calories. The last thing I did was look at the ingredients on this. It looks the same as Coke's, except this one has cane sugar. So if you get the ones from Mexico, the Cokes from Mexico, you're going to have the cane sugar instead of the high fructose corn syrup. So now I have an idea of what's probably bad, and so I'm going to go look at some things that I would think are good and see how those rate on this application and see what I learned from that. Okay, I got sidetracked because these are one of my favorite chips, so I thought I'd look at them. And they ranked okay, they're poor, but when I looked at the ingredients were, they had some bad additives in there that were of limited risk and then high calories. Only one of those additives was a medium risk. So maybe if I'm willing to do the calories today, I would do my Hawaiian chips. I grabbed these lentil chips because, we think, oh, lentils, this is going to be so much more healthier. And they rank the same as my Hawaiian kettle chips. So good for me. I get to eat my Hawaiian kettle chips, but notice here they don't have any additives. It's really just the calories that are pushing this one over the mark. Have you been getting caught up in the popcorn craze? Well, I have, and Skinny Pop is one of the ones that I would go for. So I thought, hey, let's look at this one and see if it really is Oh, it is. It's good. So I guess there's something to be said for the popcorn craze. Well, these look safe, right? And I actually use these. So I thought, hey, let's check them out. Let's see what they're saying. I was kind of surprised because they didn't rank well. None of them ranked well. The only one that ranked well was the couscous original. All the rest of them were in that poor range. Why are these falling under poor? I mean, it looks good, right? Well, there's a number of reasons. And here's the other reason why I like this app, because it takes all this miscellaneous information in the background and summarizes it into one convenient number that you and I can relate to. So what this is taking in from the background is processing concerns. So when they start adding in these flavorings, they don't identify what the flavors are that they're using. And that's part of the labeling standards. If you're using, there's like 1,800 things under natural flavors that you can use those, and you can call them just natural flavors. But a lot of it to you and me isn't exactly what we would think is natural flavors. I mean, it can be things like ethanol, right? As long as it's originated from an animal or a plant, it can be identified as natural flavors, even if it's full of emulsifiers or other things that they use for processing. 80% of that flavor can be things other than the original plant or animal product. So that's what is considered kind of a concern, that you as a consumer should be able to know everything that's in your food, especially if it might fall under a hazardous zone. Now, they're also, being that they're using these flavorings, you know how they'll use cheese or soy something? Well, you don't know if these animals are treated with antibiotics or growth hormones, because they don't have to identify that. In highly processed foods, which I guess this would fall under, if your percentages of using these extra ingredients falls under a certain percentage, or if it's highly processed, you don't have to identify if you're using bioengineered foods in it. And this product, it has soy. It has a flavor of soy in it. 90% of our crops are bioengineered soy. So what's the chances that this is using something other than bioengineered foods in it? That's why this product, when they add the flavorings to it, that's why the product suddenly falls from an excellent at 90 way down to 39. So that was really good information for me. Overall, it looks pretty good, but there's some processing concerns behind the scenes that there's no way that you and I would be able to easily identify that when we're looking at our foods. But I can trust a number. Well, I'm going to trust a number. I want to go to a not whole food store and see what we find there. One of the key differences that I notice between whole food stores and not whole food stores is the products and the brands. In the not whole food store, I noticed that there is a lot of branding in there from the top 10 companies. So like Nestle, General Mills, Kellogg's, all those huge conglomerate giants are in your regular grocery stores. And when I was shopping through my regular grocery store using my Yuka app, one of the things that I noticed is it was really hard to find foods that were better than poor. It was really easy to find foods that were poor or bad. So even you and me, we're going in there and we're thinking that we're buying good things. That's not how this works at all. You have to check everything in the brand. So I noticed that a lot of the stuff that's on the shelf that had the awesome marketing that looked like it was super healthy was super unhealthy. And that, sure, those huge conglomerates like Kellogg's, Nestle, General Mills, they do put out maybe one or two things that are actually pretty good for you, but you can't count on that. Just because they did these one or two things, you can pretty much bet everything else is not that. And so you have to look at everything that you're buying from them, because they've got a ton of money to throw behind marketing, and they do. And they've marketed the crap out of us so that even I believe that a lot of these cereals that I showed you, every one of these cereals, I thought they were healthy. Seriously, I was eating Cheerios because you know what they sell this? They sell this to me as it helps reduce cholesterol. So I was eating Cheerios, and I'm finding out that it's not much better than my Coke. So for breakfast, I could do Coke and Cheerios. That's pretty depressing. And that was all me just being overwhelmed with the marketing. So again, I really like this app because it helps pull that marketing message away and shows you what actually is in that food. And maybe we'll do an episode on food labeling, because some of the food labeling laws, you can really tell that this industry of these conglomerates has really lobbied our representatives, our FDA, our USDA, really lobbied them very hard to, for some reason, to misinform us just constantly. And so, I mean, it's just become exhausting that that it's almost like we're cattle for them, that they're just trying to milk more money off of us in order so that that next CEO can get that yacht that they're all looking for. Okay. So there's some of the things that I found with this app. You know, I found that it really helped highlight things. And even when it wasn't clear why something was rated poor, if I did a little bit more research, I could find out that they were going back into the processing. They were going back behind the labeling laws that industry has lobbied so hard for. And those labeling laws are not in our favor, right? It's really about hiding things from us. So they went behind those scenes, and they're able to pull that information forward for you and I to make a decision off of, you know, do we want to eat that or not? And the other thing that I saw is the big difference between whole food stores and our regular grocery stores. I was really happy to see that in general, I do not have to take the care or the diligence that I have to when I'm in a regular grocery store, because they're buying a lot of products that do not have a lot of the preservative additives in them, or that, you know, they'll have the natural flavors or some of that stuff in there, but they're not doing some of this really hazardous stuff that you're going to find in your regular grocery stores. So at least I'm more comfortable now buying in a whole food store. Okay, guys, until next time, I will catch you on the other side.